So our second reading from In the Thick of the Struggle will be read by Mila De Guzman, who is also the author of a book that was released 2 years ago called Women Against Marcos, and it includes six stories. 4 from the Philippines, women who participated in the anti-dictatorship movement in the Philippines, and 2 here in the United States, myself and Jolene. So she's going to read In the Armed Struggle, and it is written anonymously by Kasamang Linda.
Thank you. Ka is short for kasama or comrade, and this was how members in the movement in the Philippines address each other, and we also adopted that practice here. So it would be Ka Rene, Ka Cindy, and so on. In the armed struggle, so I'll read excerpts from Ka Linda's story. But first, let me introduce her. Ka Linda, or Kasamang Linda, is a pseudonym for a leading KDP activist who joined the KDP chapter in New York shortly after the organization's founding. She was later transferred to Washington, D.C. To start the KDP chapter there and bolster efforts to isolate the Marcos dictatorship in congressional and religious circles. She was then transferred again. This is what Rene was saying earlier, transferred people all over the place. This time to the national headquarters in Oakland in preparation for her deployment to the Philippines. Ka Linda now lives in the San Francisco Bay Area. As our relations with the center began to deteriorate, we needed to prove ourselves, to prove that we were willing and able to repatriate people, and I volunteered to personify that commitment, even though I'm sure I wasn't the best comrade to take that assignment, especially when it came to joining the New People's Army. Unfortunately, by the time I got back to the Philippines, the center had solidified its opinion about us, and we were under suspicion as to our true motives and agenda for returning. So I believe that my assignment to the NPA was more to test me than to actually place me. When I met with the then chairman of the party and the general secretary, they were very distant and formal. Even though they relaxed during our breaks, they remained guarded. We danced around our political differences and did not address them head-on in these meetings. It's important to remember that our political differences at the time were not black and white. The tumultuous events that framed the collapse of the Marcos regime and the EDSA People Power Revolution were still 4 years into the future. I was assigned to the regional NPA command in Cagayan Valley, north of Manila, which was responsible for several provinces, including Isabela, Kalinga, Apayao, Cagayan, and others. We reached the NPA command post set on the side of the province's mountain range and perfectly hidden by tall, overgrown bamboo trees. The regional leaders, who knew I was from the United States, thought I had been sent to beef up their staff, so they welcomed me with open arms. They immediately assigned me to their educational department, despite my feeble protests of, "Are you sure?" I don't think the center wants this. Days later, a letter arrived saying that I should not be given any major responsibilities. That instruction would have been easier to carry out had I not been a Filipino with a depth of knowledge and skills acquired through years of organizing. Not surprisingly, the press of the work was so great that I was soon integrated and given large responsibilities. I was taught how to shoot, clean, and maintain not just my weapon, but also other kinds of weapons. This was in case I had to quickly use another weapon in battle situation or inherited a different kind of weapon from a fallen comrade. The last time it had been shot, comrades explained it had only sprayed gunpowder stains on the target. I joined a Sandatahang Unit from Pampropaganda, or SYP, or Armed Propaganda Unit, to open up an area in a neighboring barrio about a day's hike from the district headquarters. Although I was with the NPA for a relatively short time, it was hard to treat me as a guest for long. I was given a number of important and difficult tasks. For example, I was asked to translate the military manual of Mindanao, the area that had the most advanced military experience at the time, and other documents from Cebuano into Tagalog, which later would be translated into Ilocano. As part of my work, I conducted advanced or intelligence work in areas not yet held militarily by the NPA. It was in this context that I was probably given my most difficult assignment. And if you'd like to know what that was, you'll have to die. Thank you.